Now, shifting gears, focusing on the concerns about cyber attacks and the fact that analysts have been saying for quite some time that U.S. power plants are at risk of cyber attacks in this country. And Jay Bursey is the president and the co-founder of the Economic Council, and he is here to talk more about the concerns around power plants. Can you tell us what your biggest fear is at this moment? How safe are we at this point?
Well, Uma, I think that's a very critical question. When you say how safe, it depends again on what do we mean by safety. The attacks that we've seen on nuclear power plants recently, what the world knows as the Stuxnet attack, has been a highly sophisticated attack. It has been something that we've never seen before for the scale in which it was used to attack many agencies across the world, primarily in Iran and in other countries in the world. So we call that highly weaponized cyber attack. And that is something that was done and completely baffled information security professionals from across the world just because of the sophistication and the manner in which the attack actually took place. Now, if I may elaborate, what was unique about this attack that we saw last year was the fact that it used very expensive methods to actually gain access and to compromise the Iranian power plant. It used zero-day attacks, and the amount of money, the amount of sophistication, the amount of tenacity that would have been required was absolutely immense. So it's really of concern that where would we go from what we have seen.
So where would we go at this point? I mean, the fact that you're focusing on what happened overseas, at this point in the United States, do you think we're really vulnerable? Are we paying close enough attention to security plants, to power plants at this point, taking the threat very seriously?
Yes, the United States is definitely extremely vulnerable, and the reason being is because the manner in which the attack that we saw that was executed was actually based on an attack on a PLC, or a programmable logic controller, that is used in many industries in the United States. For example, it's used to control doors of prison cells in the U.S. It's used to control the amount of rotation that a rotor rotates in a food in a food plant. So if you are able to compromise a PLC in all of these industries, you are going to see mayhem. And the biggest challenge that we're seeing in the United States is the amount of awareness that we have across this industry. Is there enough that's being done to make sure that we protect ourselves from what we have already known to be of seriously catastrophic consequences?
So what's being done right now to offset this threat? You say we're really vulnerable. And one would assume that you have knowledge of this, obviously, in a way that others may not. So if we're vulnerable, how effectively are the systems that we have in place being upgraded to the point we can prevent cyber attacks?
Well, I'm right here in Washington, D.C., and I can tell you that the administration is doing as much as they can. There are a lot of initiatives that have been put in place to ensure that the level of cybersecurity preparedness of this country is actually raised. However, the issue is that the challenge that we have is absolutely huge. So it's not just going to be done by government. We need industry to actually be aware of the problems and actually tie in the amount of education that we have, the amount of research that we have, the amount of training that we are providing to our people is something that needs to be absolutely raised. And with the situation of the budget, well, that's of a concern as to how much will we be able to achieve within a short span of time. Every day we are dealing with a serious threat to the nation, so we need to move forward and we need to protect this nation from very dramatic consequences.